Yo everybody, Mobile Gamers Unite, FTC compliant vid for adults. Let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about something important, something that I feel like I didn't cover, and it's kind of been irking me because people have been saying things about tanks. Let's just get right into it, right? I got another video coming, by the way, about Robin, and yes, there are 3 Robins. We'll talk about that later. But right now we need to talk about the Steel Wall Maiden. Okay? First of all, this girl is a tank. Great. I feel like I may have misled some people because in the last video I did, people watched me pull on this banner because I didn't mind getting the Final Oath SSR ARC. In reality, I didn't need to pull on this banner at all. And if I would have researched it a little bit more, I probably wouldn't have, but I probably still would have because I wanted to, do some pulls for you guys. I do have a channel to support and people that live vicariously through me and the pulls that I do, right? So that was the reason why I was doing pulls off this banner. Originally, I thought that in order for me to pity rate Robin, who is a must-have character, I was going to have to do pulls off of this banner to get enough points because I was like 40 points short of getting him. But then I ended up getting him later that night just off of some dumb luck. So the next day when I made my video, I did some pulls off of this banner anyway, and we scored the SSR ARC. Alright, now the ARC is not a must-have unless you're really trying to do something with Earth Magic, which I didn't mind having because if I'm running a mage and I want that mage to have a second element, right? Like my Elza, if I want her to bring something other than fire, Earth is actually a pretty good element to choose from because of the crowd control that comes with it. One of the best Earth spells is that tornado thing that floats enemies longer than anything. And this gives you like Earth boost and stuff like that. So it's a good arc to have. I definitely wanted to collect the arc. But when we actually start talking about the Steel Maiden here, a few issues come up. And this is why I feel bad. Like I feel like I may have misrepresented a little bit by doing pulls on this without a disclaimer. People have been leaving me comments like, man, I'm trying to get her. I just did 10 pulls trying to get her. I hope I get her soon. I have Prince Grom, and someone even told me, they're like, I have Lance Evil, but hopefully someday I'll get her soon. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. And this is IMO, of course. I don't need to get crucified. And first of all, I should say this. If you want to pull this girl as a collector just because you like her sexy ass, go for it. Pull her. Whatever your young heart desires, right? But if you're trying to pull an effective tank and you're trying to get her for like legitimate tanking reasons, if you already have Prince Grom, and especially if you have Lance Evil, you might want to pump the brakes and think about it. Okay? First of all, let's talk about what makes this tank different than Lance Evil and Grom. And let's just kind of rate the tanks. Let's give them a pecking order. IMO, this is all IMO again. I don't want to get crucified. Lance Evil is the best tank in the game right now, and I'll tell you why. You get him down to 40% hit points, he's damn near impossible to kill at that point. He's so strong in his defensive capabilities that they don't let him use killers. That should tell you how strong he is. And I know some of you are saying, well, man, you got to get him down to like 40% hit points. Like, that's already kind of sketchy. Lance Evil at 40% hit points might as well be Kyle at full health because Lance Evil is going to have such a large hit point pool. 40% is still plenty for him to run around and slay twat with, okay? That's just the truth. Sorry, hiccup. So he's at the top of the list, and of course, because he is a limited tank. So if you have Lance Evil, count your lucky stars. You don't even need to waste your time looking at this banner. Second of all, we have Prince Grom with his golden sword candy having ass. The reason you want that guy is for tanking purposes, obviously. He has good crowd control because he can throw enemies up, he can knock people around, And most importantly, he's the tank that brings the most utility. That luxury medicine, that's awesome. That opens up a lot of possibilities with that tank, and specifically because what you can do is you can give that tank a revive ability. Revive. And when your party gets wiped, chances are he's still going to be alive. He can revive your strongest attacker, and then he can use luxury medicine to get him back up to full health. That can get you back in the fight. That can finish a fight for you. That can get you a victory. So, where does this girl stand? As many of you may already know, she's a very special tank. She's different. This is a mage tank. So right off rip, those two things kind of conflict a little bit. So that's what we're going to get into, and that's why we're going to talk about this, because this banner might just be a skip for you. I personally, IMO again, if I had Lance Evil, I wouldn't even look twice at this girl. I have Grom, so I'm not even really that worried about it, and I don't even have him built yet. Right? If anything, if I need somebody to tank, I can set up my Fire Troll to take some hits, put some defensive abilities on him, turn him into a makeshift tank, and as long as he can throw people up in the air, he can keep them busy. That's good enough tanking for me. You know, as long as my mages aren't getting attacked and they have time to cast their spells. Which brings us to this girl, and why anybody would want her. First of all, let us think of the ideal situation where you would want to bring this girl over Lance Evil or Prince Grom. It's hard to think of one, but I've had time, so I've thought of a good situation. So here's the scene, ladies and gentlemen. You're going up against a boss that hits pretty hard. You need somebody to aggro his attacks, keep him off of the rest of your party. And let's say this boss is damn near immune to physical damage. You gotta hit this guy with magic. So in that situation, you would bring this girl, because she would be able to hold that enemy off and aggro his attacks, and she'd be able to use her magic to, supplement the damage. Is her magic going to kill the boss? I can tell you right now, no, because even though she's a tank mage, she does not have a high intelligence. She's not going to be dropping down spells like Dyne and like Elza. They're not going to be anywhere near that level. Okay? So she's basically just going to be able to supplement a mage fight and provide tank cover. In fact, when I first saw the premise for this girl, an earth tank, honestly, I thought she was going to, have some stuff in her kit where maybe she stomps her foot down on the ground and a wall of earth comes up and blocks you guys from everything and get damage reduction. But no, they literally just made her an earth mage with a low intelligence and with tank stats. Alright, so that would be the only situation where I could see taking this girl, is if we're fighting a boss that is immune to physical damage. You have to use magic to kill the boss, and so this girl could help do magic damage to the boss. The problem with that is your mages are still going to be the ones that take that boss out. They're going to be the ones that do all the damage to that boss. This girl's just going to hold the boss up and aggro all of the boss's attacks so that your mages aren't getting slaughtered and so that your mages have time to cast. Which brings us to another problem with this girl. You're going to be a tank and you're going to cast magic. Those are hard to do. When you're taking a bunch of attacks, your magic casting abilities can get interrupted. I don't know if she has like immovable force in her kit where she's not affected by being attacked, but all I know is her magic's not going to hit as hard as a real mage's. So even in this drawn out situation that we're making up for her to shine, I would still rather bring Lance Evil. He's going to be tougher. He's going to be able to take more damage, and as long as he can aggro this theoretical boss and keep him away from your mages are still going to be the ones that drop all the badass magic damage and kill the boss. So ultimately, my opinion is, IMO, if you have Lance Evil especially if you have Lance Evil. If you have Prince Grom, you don't need this girl. Matter of fact, even if you have like a fire troll with a really tanky build, you could probably get by without having this girl and using her. So like I said, the reason I pulled on this is because I wanted the arc, because it does have some nifty things in it. So the arc was definitely worth it for me. I just don't want to feel like I led any people on by doing any summons on this banner at all, because now I'm hearing about people, throwing 100 pulls at this, trying to get this girl, people that already have Lance Evil. So that's what I wanted to talk about. She has a cool character design though, she does definitely look cool, but as far as actual tanking goes, Lance Evil is going to be able to tank more. He's going to be able to take more hits, more damage, and he's going to be able to survive. Because this girl does earth magic, I'm sure she can throw up that tornado and get some great crowd control. But these other tanks have that stuff built into them too. And really, when you want to tank, you want to tank for the purpose of tanking. You want the one that's going to be able to take the most damage, shrug off the most damage, and that's going to be Lance Evil. Lance Evil can minimize damage so much that he's not even allowed to use killers, because that would just be unfair, right? Because at that point, he would be so damn tough. If you could give him killers on top of that, he could probably go kill bosses on his own. It would probably take forever, because the boss wouldn't be able to kill him, and he'd slowly be able to chip away at the boss if he was able to apply killers. So, that way it has to be a team effort. Lance Evil's there just for the tanking, and your other characters are there to do damage. So I wanted to put this out before anybody just blows their whole load trying to pull this girl off this banner. The other thing is too, she's not limited. She's gonna be around. You can probably get her as an off-banner character. That's what I would try to do. If you want to pull for a good tank and you got something to hold you over, wait for Lance Evil to come back and try to pull him. And if you pull an off-banner, you might just get her instead, and then at least that way you can kind of go home happy and say, well, at least I got a tank, right? As far as this girl's performance goes, like I said though, it's hard for me to see how she can be a super effective mage while she's tanking. We already know that she does not have the highest intelligence score. She's going to be able to throw out some magic, but she's not really, those numbers aren't going to come through. She's not going to do a shit ton of damage. If anything, for tanks like this, I would rather have that tank have spell breaks and support abilities on them to make the rest of your team do more damage, instead of my tank actually trying to throw attack spells which can be interrupted. So those are my thoughts on this girl. For me personally, this banner is a skip. Like I said, I'm reiterating, I only did pulls on this just for the sake of you guys having a pull vid, because some people did expect that from me, because I originally thought I was going to have to pity pull Robin, and I was going to have to do some pulls off of this banner to get enough points, and in the process I was hoping to at least get this arc. Now this arc is useful, and let me just tell you guys why. We'll have a look at it real quick. The arc is definitely worth getting because when a spear is equipped, grants a chance of reducing defense in mind and dealing damage. That's cool and all, but really we want the abilities that this thing teaches. Pose of Glory, defeat an enemy with a physical attack and recover some SCT. That's always useful, but we have that. Steel Guard, when guard is equipped, damage while guarding is reduced. That's nice too, it only costs 2 SC. Guard Charge, when guard is equipped, SCT slightly recovers when guarding. This is important. Spear Equip, you might want this if you have some badass spear laying around and you have a character that can only equip claws for 2 SC. If you don't have a good pair of claws, you can give them the badass spear instead. Great. Then we have Grand Protection, physical damage inflicted on all allies minus 20%. This is something that I would want to teach Prim, because when Prim cast things like this, they have a longer duration. So this is kind of cool for Prim. And finally, the creme de creme, Earth High Boost. Earth magic damage plus 30%. I think this might be the only way to get Earth High Boost. If I'm wrong, somebody will tell me about that. But this is important because, like I said, if I'm bringing Elza to kill a boss that's weak to fire, I have like 5 waves of enemies to get through before I get to the boss. And wouldn't you know it, those 5 waves of enemies might just be immune to fire. So then I'm going to make sure that Elza brings some sort of earth spell, maybe bring Earth High Boost along with it so she can be effective with her earth magic and get to the very end where she can start dropping her Crimson Flare on the boss and do the damn thing like that. So this is why I pulled on this banner specifically, but a lot of people will tell you, unless you're specific, because you don't have to go with Earth. There's plenty of Ice attribute stuff out there. So, you know, if you're looking for an arc to add a second type of elemental damage to a caster, there's plenty of arcs out there that give you Ice. So you don't necessarily have to go with Earth. I thought it'd be a nice option to have tucked away in the back pocket, so that's why I wanted this arc. Alright, as far as the prize, it gives you this badass javelin, right? So this is kind of made for this tank girl. She uses spears. This is a gnarly as hell spear though, strength 155. Gives you some intelligence because she is supposed to cast a little bit, but guys, look at the ratio here. This should tell you that this girl is not going to be a super powerful caster. I mean, she's going to get 85 intelligence off of her 6-star weapon. That's nice and all, but most mages that are using a staff are going to get a hell of a lot more than 85 intelligence off of it. Of course, this gives some defense too because obviously the girl is a tank. It is Earth Element though, and it gives Earth attack damage plus 20%. So you can give this to a lot of people. I could see people using this and just kind of ignoring the intelligence. Just using this as a 155 attack spear that does an extra 20% Earth damage. So it is a good item. I'm not going to like go out of my way and kill for this thing or anything, but I'm just explaining to you guys why I did pulls on this collab. No, not a collab, on this banner, and it was just for this arc. My official word is, as far as tanks go, I mean, that's the packing order right now. We have Lance Evil, who is just damn near impossible to kill. He's going to do the best job tanking. And Lance even looks really cool. Do we have him down here? No, of course. He's limited, so they're not even going to let us look at his badass picture. We have Prince Grom here, who I do have, right? He's only level 11, which goes to show you how badly I've needed a tank so far, right? And this guy does some amazing stuff. Luxury Medicine. Enough said. He's got Trick Spear. He's got great crowd control. You know, he doesn't need to bring Earth Magic to throw people up in there. He has Trick Spear for that. Luxury Medicine really gives this guy a great utility. All in all, he might be one of the starting characters, but this guy is an amazing tank, and that's all there is to it. So if you have this guy, you don't really need to worry about that girl at all. But I am seeing people come out of the woodwork and say, well, I have Lance Evil and I have this guy, but I'm trying to get this girl. And I'm like, really think about that, because she's probably not going to like really do that much for you. So that's just my opinion though. IMO. Again, I don't need to get crucified for that. So funny thing, I pulled Blood Bros. I pulled Blood Rose. This is one of the starting characters that I wanted. And the funny thing is, I've spent the day looking through tier lists and stuff like that. This character is not rated that high on the tier list, but I feel like he kind of got a raw deal. pretty much any of these tier lists talking about this guy, they're going to say, well, first of all, he's an interesting mage because unlike other mages who push people away from them with their skills and then drop magic, this guy, a lot of his abilities, he does get up close to do the damage, so playing him is a little interesting. He does get to health steal the hell out of everything, and he gets a special spell, and this is pretty much the only value that they give this character. He gets this spell over here. What is it called? Venomous Rainfall. This is a good spell. He's the only one that can get this. You can't even learn this from arcs, right? But there are more powerful spells. But here's the thing. The spell has a pretty good utility. It's dark attack against all enemies, and it has a chance to inflict poison. I think that gets overlooked a lot. And then people act like this is pretty much all this guy has. Part of the reason they do that is because his hidden skill, I think, is called Blood Force, and it is the skill that you can get from his arc. It's another reason why this character is looked down upon. All these other new characters come out and they have their own SSR arc with crazy awesome abilities on it. His arc is Bloody Moon. It's just an SR arc, and Blood Force down here, this is his unlockable ability that he gets. It is an 11 SC ability, and your regular attacks have a chance to absorb 20% hit points. So he gets that built into his kit, so you don't have to pay the 11 SC for it. But he also gets to really bank on that because he does have another ability that increases any of his life steals, and I think it's called Blood Contract right here. Probability of increased hit point absorption while using hit point absorption skills. So anything this guy does that steals people's health, this is going to augment it, right? So that's good and nifty. And that's pretty much where every tier list leaves this guy, right? And I've heard a lot of people do interesting builds with him. I've heard of people trying to do a tank build with him because he's self-sufficient. He gets some decent spells. He's going to do dark, fire. But here's the most interesting thing I found out about this character and why I actually myself started working on this character. Every single person seems to overlook where is it? Actually, it's down here. Every single tier list that I've seen overlooks this one ability. Chains of Damnation. This is it, guys. This is why this character, I believe, is not in the S class of characters. Chains of Damnation. A probability of reducing dark resistance with critical attacks. That is effing amazing, considering we have units now like Reaper Melza that does dark damage. We also have Phantom Robin, who is great. He does a lot of dark damage in his kit. Hell, even Popoi, his super skill, does a bunch of dark damage. So, I know you're saying, hey, we can always use Weaken. To use Weaken, you have to cast a spell, right? On top of that, Chains of Damnation is different than Weaken. Weaken is going to drop everybody's resistance down by like, what, 5-10%? But it's just enough to make, elemental things a little more effective. If you can use Weaken, and then this guy can score some critical hits, this Chains of Damnation is going to stack on top of Weaken. So you drop Weaken, and your enemy gets -10 to all of his resistances. Chains of Damnation hits, this guy gets a crit, and now that stacks on top of Weaken, so your dark resistance, you're going to get like -20% to that. That is effing huge, considering we have characters like Reaper Melza running around doing a shit ton of dark damage and self-sustaining herself off of that. This guy self-sustains himself too, so you don't really need to bring a damn healer. Okay, he can keep himself healed. Reaper Melza can keep herself healed. And if you have Dark Robin there, you're going to get the treasure hunt, and Dark Robin does a ton of dark damage himself. So these characters have great synergy. They can really bank off of each other. So I decided to start working on this character just for my exclusive dark party. I will show you guys what that party looks like. Plus, I've always thought this character looks cool. He just looks wicked and badass. He plays different than other mages. Dyne, for instance, and his skill kit has a lot of crowd control, a lot of things that push enemies back so that he can cast his spell and wreck them. He doesn't want enemies to get close because then they hurt him. Well, this guy with Sonic Sting, this is like, this is a close quarters attack. Bloody Shower, these like blood things come out. They do push people back. And I don't have his tier 3. I know it's a great ability, but really this guy can get up close and do some damage. And then of course he can still throw a bunch of dark spells, and he can break your dark resistance. He can make a lot of other characters more effective, and he doesn't have to worry about healing himself. I honestly think this guy is really overlooked and underplayed, considering the fact that not one of these ranking sites even brought up the fact that this guy can actually break dark resistance, and since it's its own thing, it's going to be able to stack with weaken and things like that. So that can take dark damage to a whole nother level, and you don't have to worry about healing this guy. Sorry about that, guys. Work never ends. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. This character can actually be very beneficial to Dyne, because Dyne, he's not just locked in to fire damage, right? Dyne is going to use the lowest resistance you have, whether it be fire or dark. And obviously, if you're running Blood Rose, and Blood Rose gets a couple criticals, he's going to drop the dark resistance. Dyne's going to be able to do more damage because he's going to be using his magic against a weaker dark resistance, especially if this stacks with weaken. So I honestly think this guy completely got overlooked, especially on the tier list. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that nobody even brings up the fact that, to my knowledge right now, this is the only character that actually lowers enemies' elemental resistance by getting crits. So if I'm wrong about that, somebody please correct me, right? I'm just telling you guys what I've noticed. He also plays very well with Dark Robin. Dark Robin has a bunch of dark attacks, and this guy can lower dark resistance. On top of that, some of his moves, like Sonic Sting, front combo attack in a small area, doesn't really do much. Bloody Shower, front combo attack in a small area, chance of absorbing hit points equal to 20% of the damage. I do know that he also has a move that, actually, I don't want to misspeak on this. But let's see, which one is it? I think he has something that actually breaks defense. Front combo attack, that's the one that absorbs hit points. Is it this bad boy? Get some killers. Here it is. Front attack in a medium area, chance to reduce enemies' defense. Obviously, this is very important too. So he can lower defense, he can lower dark resistance, and then of course he's gonna drop a bunch of dark magic himself, and he's gonna heal himself. Also, with Blood Contract, any which way that you have to steal hit points, this is going to augment that. So this guy, being a vampire and all, he's gonna have the best lifesteal in the game because of Blood Contract. So this is what I think about this guy. Definitely working on him, and I've heard of people making like a tank out of him because He's so self-sufficient and he can heal himself. So I think this character brings a lot of goodies to the table. He is highly overlooked, but really, as soon as I saw Chains of Damnation, this is really what did it for me. I instantly started working on the character. So let's see what party I have for him. And pretty much this is my dark party, right? I have Phantom Robin here who's doing dark, and obviously he's going to be able to steal stuff too and get me extra loot. We have Reaper Melza here who is great for damage, does a lot of really good damage, has a great basic attack, does a lot of damage, and she does dark damage, of course. And then we got this guy. Him and Reaper Melza can keep themselves healed, so I really don't need a healer unless I'm up against some really, really tough shit, which I haven't had to cross that bridge yet. And then, of course, this guy complements both of these characters by being able to score crits and lower enemies' dark resistance. And you might as well throw weaken on everybody too while we're at it. So this is what your boy's doing as far as a dark party is concerned. So I'll keep you guys posted. But this is pretty much it. I don't want to drag this out too long. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the whole tank dilemma, the tank bait that's up on the banner right now. IMO, of course, IMO. Don't crucify your boy. And I just wanted to touch up on the dark party that I'm working on. And I wanted to shine a spotlight on Blood Rose. I don't see him out there too much. I think a lot of people look at him and just say he was one of the starter characters. There's characters that are out there that are better now. You can still find a very, very good use for this character. I have not given up on him. And personally, he's definitely one of the coolest looking starter characters that we have. So if you got this guy sitting around, maybe blow the dust off of him and look and see what he can do, especially if you got Reaper Melza and Dark Robin. This guy can put in some good work for you, especially if you're going into a fight that, you know, is weak against Dark. So, Mobile Gamers Unite, that's what I think about this. The next video that I do, we're going to be talking about the 3 Robins. Something for you to think about. Yes, there are 3 Robins. There always have been. 2 of them look alike. If you guys want to know what the hell I'm talking about, you're just going to have to watch the next video. Mobile Gamers Unite. If I missed anything, I'm sure my peeps will call me out on it. And, you know, don't hurt my feelings or nothing because I'm fragile. But please let me know if I missed anything or if I fumble-dicked anything around a little bit. Let's talk about this stuff. That's why my comments are open. This is what we need to be talking about. Alright? So everybody have an awesome day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.